Hello everyone. Please confirm if I'm audible. Also confirm what we have been learning in the past session. What I taught in last session. I will confirm. I guess like in previous session we had gone through with the React.js, Redux, and all those, right? Those critical. So today we'll be seeing around Node.js. What is actually Node.js, and we'll also see about databases and all those overview basically. So that from tomorrow we can start creating project and we'll be learning all those practical concepts while doing the project as okay. So let's start with the session today. Let me share my screen. Akshay sir, what will the path for the course? So basically I'll explain you. So what we have seen up to now, like installation is just done. Installation of Node, React setup, basic concepts, right? We have seen until now about this React.js. So today we'll be seeing overview of Node.js and Express, how we write Node.js codes, how we write an APIs inside Node.js using Express, how database works, database of Mongoose. So we'll be going about the overview today about these three concepts and authentication as well. Okay, I guess authentication we have already given you an overview in the last session, but today we'll be going in deep. So these are the kind of theoretical we'll be going today. Tomorrow we will write some authentication codes in React, like sign up, login, forgot password, reset, all this logic in front end. And if possible, we'll continue. Then we'll continue with backend code, backend code for all this authentication. Then after this, what we'll do on the backend code is done, then integration of authentication with APIs in backend code, backend front end. Then we'll in the this will be done in those 2 days basically. This all this authentication logic from front and back end, day 2 and day 3 of fourth week. Then in fifth week, this is all those fourth week. Then in fifth week, all about deployments. We'll be seeing moreover about the deployments part. And if we get time in starting, then we can go with advancement of React, like protected routes and all those stuff. Protected routes, and we'll go mention deeper if possible. But more or less, this will be the pathway we'll be going through in the fourth week and fifth week. Fifth week is more about the deployment. In the fourth week only, we'll be completing all those practical works. In fifth week, the first day will be more over about the coding. The last 2 days will be more about the deployment, how deployment works. Moreover, okay. So let's start with the today Node.js. How many of you know what is Node.js? First of all, one. So basically, it's kind of Node.js is a JavaScript runtime which allows us to write JavaScript code outside of the browser. So basically, JavaScript is only for browser based, right? So initially, when JavaScript was created, it was for the web applications. So it was supposed to run on the website and browsers. So what Node.js founder did, that he was curious about writing JavaScript on the server side as well. Earlier, there were multiple server side languages like Python or Java basically, or some those, right? That are the backend frameworks. Usually, they used to write Java, C++, all those. Those were the server-side languages earlier. But what we just thought that why shouldn't we use JavaScript to write backend code as well? That's where Node.js was developed, right? So Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment that allows us to run JavaScript code outside of a web browser. And basically, you can also think it is a tool of that allows you to build a server-side applications, okay, and even like CLI tools or even desktop applications. Currently, JavaScript is a type of language you can use to build your web applications, mobile applications, or even desktop applications. Everything is possible. How JavaScript is widely used in current state for web application, you already have like JavaScript, right? Core JavaScript, then you have like a React, Angular, or whatever, right? You have multiple JavaScript libraries and framework to create web application. Then mobile application, you have React Native and Expo, right? For desktop application, you have Tauri. So, moreover, JavaScript is now widely used, even for the machine learning and all. Now, JavaScript is being used, although it's not widely popular. But JavaScript is now everywhere. Now you can write a web application, mobile application, desktop applications, even machine learning and all. Right. So JavaScript is now widely used. What is now? Let's come on the key points of Node.js first of all. Node.js. So it's built upon Chrome's V8 engine. So basically, if you do a little bit of research, so in the current scenario, the browsers are moreover in the V8 engine, which was developed by Chrome. It moreover enhances all the HTML, CSS, and JS runtime, right, in browser. So it is Node.js is built upon Chrome V8 JavaScript engine. Then it is an event-driven and non-blocking input and output model. Block input output model, or simply you can write IO model. Then it is single threaded, and unless like if you see like Java or Python, they can run on multi-thread, but Node.js is a single threaded application. But if you need, you can, but uses event loops for concurrency. So although it's a single threaded, but you can do some of the minor changes into framework Node.js, and it can run into concurrency. You can achieve that. So in moreover, the core Node.js is in single threaded, but due to if you can modify some of those changes, you will be able to run into concurrency. Then it is a cross-platform. Of course, if you see like I discussed about web application, mobile and desktop, everything you can write. Also, it is supported with like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, every OS. Right. Then why Node.js? If you see today, you are saying like this stack, right? Mern, or even previously it was Angular. Now it's like Vue. So only the front end code changes, Mer, then V, and then A, right? But that Node.js remains consistent when you are using JavaScript. So, moreover, Node.js is now widely used, and Mer is the top technology tech stack you will be seeing in the internet nowadays. So, why Node.js? So, one of the main reason is same language, right? Same language. For Java, you are using JavaScript for front end and back end both as well, right? Then you have like fast performance. Why? So if you see in JavaScript, usually the startup time is 3 seconds moreover, but in Java or something, it goes up to 7 seconds in a cloud environment some of the times, right? So in this scenario, usually it is chosen because of the fast performance, because it uses like V8 engine compiles JavaScript to machine code basically. So that's why it is a fast performance. Then ecosystem basically. Ecosystem, there is a huge collection of npm packages that you can use into your applications. And once you are seeing that huge collection of packages, it means even like there are number of communities available. There are large number of communities available around the Node.js or JavaScript environment, right? Compared to like Java or any other languages. Then it is an scalable. So scalable, you can say like great for building scalable network applications. You can efficiently scale with the code, right? So it's more of a scalability is a major part with the Merge stack. So that's why we prefer Node.js. These are the like four key points we usually see for using Node.js. Then how to install Node.js? I guess you all have already installed Node.js because when we had set up React.js, Node.js was initially required. Okay. So like once you have installed Node.js, you can open like terminal and check if my Node.js is installed or not. So how you can do that? You can write node and write version. So it will show you the node version. Then there is a node package manager. So in that scenario, you can say npm and version. So this will show you the npm version as well. Okay, so it means now Node.js has been installed in your system. You can check by this. Then how do we create your first Node.js program? Let me just quickly close my current project. Let me create a new project. Basically Node.js, we can say. Okay, and I'll open this folder. I will right click and open with code. If this option is not being shown here, you can go to the path, type cmd, and then write code and dot. So the current directory opens. Also, once you do this, basically VS Code must be installed or any other editor you want to use. So I have both editors like Cursor, VS Code, and other code editor as well. So Cursor is also basically a fork of your Node.js. That's why it's the same thing. Okay. So first of all, how do we initialize our Node.js program? So let's create an index.js. Okay. Then we can write some of those things. Suppose that if you want to print something, so console.log hello world, right? So in front end, you saw that we use console.log, and in browser inspect element, it was showing in console, right? All those things. So in Node.js, you can simply console those things into a terminal. So if I want to run this file, what I can do is I can simply write node and the file name index.js, and you see the hello world get printed. So that's how you can create a simple Node.js program and write and run the program. So I hope like we had discussed all those basic things about variables, console, then functions, right? All those things we have already discussed when we had to learn this JavaScript. Okay. Now what is JavaScript runtime? First of all, let's understand what is JavaScript runtime. JS runtime, because Node itself says it's a JavaScript runtime, right? So first of all, understand event loop. In fast performance, we say concurrency, right? Using the event loop. So what is event loop? So Node.js uses an event loop to handle multiple operations without blocking. Think of it as like we can say like restaurant with one waiter who takes orders, serves food, and handle payments. There is only one waiter, but doesn't wait around while chef prepares food. Suppose that there are like 10 tables in a restaurant, right? And there is a single waiter. He will go to each 10 of the tables and take the orders and he will go to chef and tell them what are the orders. Then once chef prepares the orders, then he will go and give all those foods to all this table, right? So all those work is being done without blocking anything. So in normal way, what it shall I go that waiter will come to table number one. He will take the order. Once the order gets prepared, then he will deliver to table number one. Then he will go to table two. So instead of blocking this operations, what you will do, he will use JS uses runtime environment, event loop basically, so that it will do the concurrency. So waiter will go with all those tables, take the orders, tell the chef. Once the chef prepares, he will deliver one by one table, right? So on the event loop, you can say that is using an event loop to handle multiple operations without blocking one. Uh, right. So in basically in Node.js, what we can say, let me close all this. Okay. So suppose that we can say this is an start. Okay, starting the application. Then we can say set timeout basically, so that it will run an instant. So we can say that is an timeout with the 0 second. So that we can print timer one finished. Then we can say set imme, set immediate, set immediate, and then immediate callback. We can say okay, and then we can say console.log and at last finish the application. Let's run this. The keyboard is being stuck. Okay, now if you see what's happening, if one by one the line should be executed. So the printing was supposed to be starting the application, then timer one finished, then immediate callback, and then finishing the application. It was supposed to be written in this way, right? In order, but how it is printed: starting the application, then finishing the application, then timer one finished, and then immediate callback. So basically, there are priorities going on right here. So if there are some old habit of functions being called like set timeout, immediate, and all, so it is executed after all these codes like console.log, which are can be executed immediately. So first of all, they are printed, and then all those things are printed, like timer one finish and immediate callback, right? So that's how it uses event loop to manage the concurrency and without blocking the input or output IO basically. Okay, so that's the event loop example basically. We use that Node.js uses an event loop to handle all those multiple operations without blocking. So we can execute multiple lines of codes asynchronously and without blocking the IO. Okay, so that's the event loop. Now we can see about global object. What is global objects? Node.js. So Node.js provides several global objects that are everywhere available. So suppose that these things can be understand in if you want to access now this application data, right? So you can say something called console.log. We can say current directory basically, current directory. Okay, and then we can say basically the name. So basically these are the global variables or global objects that are given by the Node.js. So if I write some of those things like global directory, then we have current file. So current file, then you can say file name, file name. Then we can say suppose that console.log about the node version. So node version we can say process dot version, process dot version. Okay. So if I try to run, okay, we need to install first initialize on this package is about path, const path, right, and const f is equal to fs, and also we need to initialize the project. So once we're done, sorry, and node index, it's the common JS, I guess. Yes, it's the common JS. Okay, I guess there's an version issue here, maybe. Path dot dot name, we can say path dot join, and then we can pass their name here. Okay, we could not find a name single as it is. Okay, now it is there. Right. So there was an character mistake I did. There are two underscore. Basically, I did one underscore. Right, it was not correct. Okay. Now if you see, like if we are printing console.log current directory, and then we pass out path dot join the name. So it will print our the current directory in which we are there, right? So if you see D, then classes, and then Node.js. So in this directory we are there. Now if we go with file name, then we can say file name, and then we can run. And now you see the file name is where current file d class node.js and index.js, right? So this is the path of our file. If I go here and click on reveal file explorer, you see this is local as d, then slash classes, then slash node.js and index.js. So that's our file name. Then we have a version about which node version we are using. Then even the platform we can go with process.platform, we can say, right? So these are the global variables basically we can define. Now we have core modules and built-in features in Node.js. So basically Node.js give us many built-in modules, and then we don't have to install that. Like if you see, we are using fs, path, these are the modules, right, which we never installed here in package.json. Nothing has been installed as a dependency right now. So these are the built-in modules given by Node.js. So there are modules like OS. So if I just show you about OS, what OS does, OS is equal to require OS. So these are the basically commands you can say that you can get, like which platform you are there, then architecture, CPU, if let's try running this, and you'll get a whole lot of data. So let's go one by one. First of all, let's come in. So we are the into Windows 32 OS platform, then architecture, that is x64, then CPUs. So you get all those information regarding the OS. So these are the OS module. Then there is path module we saw, right. Then same works with like FS module, or then we have URL module. So we can say const URL is equal to require URL. So if you have some kind of new URL, so let's use this, and then we can say, suppose first of all we need to parse URL, right? So URL dot parse, and then we can pass the address about that and pass the true. This is URL. Then if we want to see what all the host means, the domain basically. Okay. Then path name, then search, and also protocol. We can say protocol. Now if we try to print, so protocol we have HTTPS, of course. Then the host is www.google.com. Then path name is after slash, that is search. Then what is search parameters. Then we have the query node.js, and what is query. So partial dot query dot queue. So we have queue, right? Or we can just simply write in object, we can say. So in that way we can define. So not this query, if you say. So we have protocol, host, path name, and then the query, the queue node.js, right? So we have all those. These are the URL we get in this scenario. Suppose that now if you want to create an URL, so how do we create a URL? So we can say let new URL, and which is URL dot format, and then we can pass all those details here. Like we can say protocol, that is HTTPS. Then we can say host name. Let's suppose that google.com. Then path name, we can say like users. Suppose that, okay, users. So if we do this much and try to console this, we will get an URL, console.log new URL, and then search. So now if you see, we have https www.google.com/users. And if you want, you can add the query parameters as well if you need. Okay. So, and there are built-in modules like fs, path, URL, OS, and moreover, all those, right? So let's see about fs. How does fs works? Fs is equal to require and fs. Okay. Now, if you want to read any file, so suppose that I can create sample.txt. Hello world from txt file. Okay. And then if you want to read this, so you can select data is equal to fs dot read file sync, and then we can pass the directory. So we have sample.txt and pass the formatting option. So we'll use UTF-8, the usual formatting we use standard. Then we can console.log data. And if we try to run again, so if you see that it is hello world from the txt file. So we saw that all those basic modules we have, right? Then how do you write a file with fs? So in that scenario, what you can do, so you can say let content basically, and then say that current time is, and dynamic value about date. Okay. And then we can say that fs dot file write file, and then the location output.txt we can say, and then the content will pass, and then if any error gets thrown here, error, then we can debug that error, that console dot log error dot message, error dot message. Okay. So let's try printing again and output.txt, and you see that current time is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. So this is how we can write a file. You can also append a file in this scenario. So once you return the file, you can want to update, right? So this is an output current time. If I want, I can also append the file. So how we can do that? Append file, and in this I can just say slash, and this is new line content. Okay. And then I can simply check output that this is new line content, right? So this way, like you can write file, append file, or work with your own directories if you want using fs and path modules. Now Basically, we'll be seeing how you can create your HTTP server or an REST API. So, how do we create an HTTP server? Anyone? Do you know about HTTP? Anyone? What is an HTTP server, REST API, or anything? Okay. So basically, we can import with HTTP. All these modules currently I'm using, these are provided by Node.js itself. You don't need to install these libraries from anywhere. Okay. So now we can say const server is equal to HTTP dot create server, and then extract request and response, and then write your function here. That a response we can say, suppose that rest dot end, or maybe write that content with s1 tag hello from node.js server, and then close this. Also, we'll have to response dot end, so that it will end the response here. Also, we'll have to set the content type. So write head, and then we can say in status code, then content type we can say that is in text and with HTML content, and then we can say server dot listen, server dot listen with an port. So our port, suppose that is 3000, then callback, sorry, function, then we can say console dot log server is running in localhost 3000. Let's try running this, and let's copy this into a browser and try to access this. Now you see we are getting hello from Node.js server, right? If we try to refresh and see in network tab in all, let's see here, we're accessing HTTP localhost 3000. In content type, we are getting text HTML. Response, we are getting H1 tag, right? So this is how you can send a response. Now, if you want to create like access different routes, how you can do that? In HTTP server, you want to create multiple routes here. So this is a single route, right? If you want to create different routes, so how you can do that? So first of all, you need to do request parsing. So let parsed URL, and then we'll parse this URL. I guess we would not have initialize const URL is equal to require URL. Okay, and then URL dot parse. Then we can pass request dot URL, and then to. So now we have URL passed here, right? Then we can say let path is equal to parsed URL, parsed URL dot path name. Then the method we are seeing, like get method, post method, delete method, right? All those methods I explained in the last session. So let method is equal to request dot method. So once we have this, now we can do with either switch case or if statement, anything we can write. So first of all, let's say response dot set header and set the type of content type. Content type. Content type, and then we can say text, and then HTML. Now we can write in if condition about our method and URL. So if path is our base URL, right, and method is get, then we can say response dot status code 200, and then we can send like response dot write, and we can say something like this h1 home route. Okay, same way we can create like about page. Let's create one more like contact or something. Contact page. That's also page. And then once we had written our also let's add a link. Okay, let a tag we can do, and let's give an href to about page. Okay, about page. We can say let's using single tick, so that single tick and then pass like about page. Go to about page, then contact page. Go to contact page. Go to about page. Go to contact page. Same we can copy here so that we can change route. Then go to home. And go to home page. Correct. Then you can say go to about page. Okay. So once we have written all those codes or HTML code or whatever you want to send basically at the server-side language or whatever client side, either HTML, JSON, whatever you want to do, you can do basically in this way based on the code. And once if not are done, okay, sorry, I guess I've written if, so we can say else if not this, then this, right? Else if, same way we can write else if, and if not any of those, then we can say that no, this route isn't there inside this. So we can say like 404, that page is not found. Page not found. Go back to home page. Okay. So and then we can just say response dot end. And perfect. Now if we run this, right? Now if you refresh, you shall get just let me see what's the error. Response dot status code. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be equal to not function. My bad. Now let's refresh and check. Okay, now if you see we have home page, go to about page. Now if I am changing about click on about page, now we are redirect to slash about. If I go to contact page, slash contact, and contact is there. If I try to access something different, suppose contacts. So now if you see there is no page found because there is no page available here, right? So now we can, if you saw, we are able to create multiple routes here and using the HTTP server. Now, if you saw writing the code in this, it's a bit of complicated with an if statement or if you use switch case even. So it's more about complicated. So that's why a package comes here like Express and Hono. So what it does now, it's give you a clean code basically. It's a package built on Node.js. So it allows you to write API routes or even any routes basically a routing for your server side languages. If you want, you can send a JSON response. If you want HTML response, you can send HTML response. So if you saw in the current code, first of all, what we did, we created an HTTP server. Then you pass the URL. Then we extracted the path and method. Content type is set to text HTML. Then we created all this content, right? So it's a bit of a complicated or not a clean code, right? So to maintain the code readability and everything, you can use either Express, or it's an like long time running framework, Express framework, right? So either you can use Express or the new one we have called Hono. So it's also the similar to Express but lightweight in terms of size and fast. So either you can use Hono or Express, anyone, whatever you like. Moreover, both works the same way. Okay. So if I try to install Node Express with this command, Node install Express, and I create some other like server.js and copy this and paste this. Right. Now if I send about in contact, about page, about page, contact page, contact page, home page, home page, about and contact. Right. So in this way you can write your routes. And if I try to run node server.js, and now if I try to refresh this slash contact, cannot get contact, slash contact, we are getting contact page. Then if I search about page, you're getting about page. In home page, you're getting home page, right? So this way it's not efficient, and even the clean code you're getting. That you're initializing, first of all, you're importing the Express package, then you're passing it to a variable called app so that you can access Express from the app variable, right? So app, then we are deciding a port, that port should be 3000. Then if you see, we are deciding app and then passing the method, that if app means my application, and then if there is a get method, in which route, in which path, if get request and then a base path if you are getting, then return this. If you are getting get request in about path, then return this. If you are getting get request in contact path, then return this. Same way you can create like post method you can do. Then you can write patch, port, delete. So there are multiple methods, right? So you can create in that way. So now it's in clean code as well and minified version, right, of your basic code. If you see, you had to write multiple things, and also Express handles most of the thing for you, like status codes or most of the things it handles by default. So it's moreover easy to you. If you want, you can also send in JSON responses if you want. So if you want to send an HTML, you can send HTML. So Express is much more unified for your REST APIs. Okay. Now let's understand, we use like modules we imported, right? So what is even npm and package management? You saw me using like npm install Express.js, npm install Express.js. So what is even npm? So npm is a node package manager. You can understand something called like Play Store and or App Store, right? So in Android, you have an Play Store. You can install any application from that and you can use, right? You are not developing it, but you can just install and use the application. Same way, you can understand that npm is something similar to Play Store, that someone publishes their packages into this, then you can use that package to in your own code, and you can use it anyway, right? Similarly, like someone created an Express package, and now we're able to use this to create our routes, right? So same way you can understand in this. So npm is nothing, just a node package manager, something like App Store for Node.js. Okay, what are the basic npm commands? You saw me creating writing this code, npm init y, right? So basically what this command is, just it is initializing a new project. So what this does, it created in package.json for me, where it is like name, which is the folder name mine. then version, description, main. You can also run some scripts if I can write start or dev, whatever, and then I can, if I type npm run dev, then this script shall run. Okay. Then if you want then keywords, author, license, or this type. Then we have type. So there are two types you can use. One is common JS, other is module type. So in module, how you do this? Module. So if you change to module, you won't be like importing pages in this way. This is a traditional common JS method. This is common JS. Okay. And if you want to use module type in package.json, then you would be import express from express. So this is the method for module. Okay. So if you are using common JS, you need to import this way. If you are using a module, you can import this way. Okay. So this is the traditional. Moreover, everyone uses common JS because that's the more efficient and the traditional way we write code. Right. Like FS path that are more compatible with common JS, not module. Okay. So common JS. Okay. And then dependencies. It means what are the packages you are installing in your project. So I installed Express currently, so that's why it's written Express. And a node modules folder has been created so that whatever dependencies are there that can get inside this. So now if you see, basically most of them are by default given by Node.js. So that's why all those are there. Now there are also Express. That means most of them are also available by Express. So these are the modules for this project. Okay. Now this is an package which is inside project. But what if you want to initialize something in from the global? So for installing a package, you use npm install express as a package. Okay. If you want to install globally, then you can simply add in dash and g. It means npm install global inside your global folder. Then you can install express in our globally. Then if you want to something install as in dev dependencies, there are two type of dependencies, that are dependencies and something are dev dependencies. Okay. So suppose that in React and Vite, we suppose that right. So just imagine in a way. So Vite is an alternative to Webpack or something, right? Just build tool. You can build tool. So what's happening currently in this scenario, that Vite is only required only your in the local environment. Vite is not going to work in your server, right? Because Vite will just build all your file and give you a static folder which will consist all those HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you can simply deploy that inside any of this deployment CI/CD or Versal or Netlify, right? So Vite is only required than development tool inside the development. So that's why there is a called dev dependency, which is required within the development. Once it is deployed in production, it is not required in there. So for that, you can use called save dev. So what will this do? It will install then dev dependencies. Okay, which will not be used in production environments. Then if you want to list what all the packages I have installed, so you can like just write npm list, and then it will see you are getting node.js inside this directory. What are the packages I've used? Express, and what versions I have installed, right? And if you want to update all the packages, so you can type npm update, and it will update all those to the latest versions. Okay. Then if you want to uninstall a package, so what you can do is npm uninstall express. So it will uninstall the package. But do this, now you see dependency has been removed. So in this way, you can simply install the express whatever packages you can want to uninstall. You can install that as well. Okay. Now let's understand about this kind of package.json. Okay, I have already teach you package. So basically, this what you can say packages basically. Sorry, right. So what are these packages we can say? Like we can create package.js so that I can explain you. package and this, and then suppose that we can import like fs or something, right? So that require fs. So this way, like we are initializing our fs module inside our fs variable, right? So there is a package called fs. Then how to use that package? First of all, you import that package like require fs, and then you initialize inside a variable that VM fs, right? So with the database of moreover, it is in const fs and then require fs. So we are initializing our fs module inside an fs variable, and then we can access that. So that's how we use packages. You can similarly add like color, other moreover packages if you want to install. Then you can just visit npm.js website and you will get all those. Sorry, just open npm website. Now you can search all those packages if you need. Suppose that there's expressview installed, right? So if you want any other packages, you can use that if you want. Okay. So moreover, that's the code level or overview about the Node.js we uses. I guess we had already discussed about FS path and variables data types. We are already studying JavaScript, right? So what are the things left now? I guess we can say about promises which we have not seen. So let's understand with the promises here. Okay. So how does promises work? What do you understand by promise? So what do you understand by promise? So promise either it will fulfill or it will give an rejection. Okay. Either promise gets fulfilled or either it gets rejection. Okay. So there are only two things you will be getting, right? So JS gives you two to three methods you can use. Either there is try catch, then and catch, right? So these are the ways you can make happen. It's a success or an error. You can do that. Okay. So how do we use this? So let's suppose here uh, we can just say fs dot promises. Okay, and then we can create a function here. Function, suppose that read user read content. So read content. Okay, and then given file name here and return what fs dot read file. Okay, and then access the file name with the formatting of utf. We can say utf-8. Okay, utf-8, and then if it is success, then you can access inside then, and then you get the data. Okay, and then if you want, you can suppose that I want to do JSON parse. Okay, because suppose that we have JSON data, you can say JSON dot parse and then data. Okay, and if not, then there will be an error. So we can also extract the error, and then we can say throw new error, and what we'll say throw new error is fail to read content. Okay. Okay. So now we have created a function which will accept a file name as an parameters, and then it will return what? It will return that fs.read file with the file name, and if it is success, it will return the data, and if not, it will return error that fail to read content. Okay. So now suppose that if I try to access this, read content, and I will pass called data.json. Okay, and dot then, and suppose that data if I get it. And in data I can just print console.log data, that we have now the data. Sorry, if we have the data, right? And if not, return suppose that data.name we can extract. Okay, so this way I have just mentioned that this is in data, and then we can say basically also dot then. So we are using double n because we're also returning, right? So in this scenario, you can also console.log user.name, where there is an user and user.name. Username is name. And then if nothing is success, then we'll be getting an error, of course. Then we can say error. And in error, we can say suppose the console.log error, error, and then we can simply set error.message. Okay, now let's try running this. Does it work or not? Node package.js. So if you see, okay, first of all, this must be under string. So basically, error failed to read content because there is no file only, right? We don't have a data.json here. But if we create data.json and in slice called name is equal to yes, then we have an age, let's call it 30, then let's keep it only 2 for now because we just need to test. Okay, so now we have data.json. First of all, when we didn't have data.json, then it given us an error about this error. And what is an error message? That failed to read content, right? Now if we try to run, now we are getting console.log data, which is Yashraj and name and age we are getting. Then we are returning data.name, and then in the second, then we are able to access user name is Yashraj, right? So this is how promise work. That is then and catch. Same way you can do with like basically try and catch. That if it's success, then do this, and if not, then use that. So there are two methods. One is then and catch. Same way you can write in try or catch. So you can write all those codes here. If that will success, then it will execute in same way. Other than that, it will execute in catch if anything is thrown an error, right? So let's try this if it works or not. Let's see. Read content. Const data is equal to read content, and then we can say console.log data. Okay, and here let's say console.log error. I guess it's supposed to be asynchronous. So first of all, let's try if it works or not. So of course it's in promise. So it's supposed to be an async and await. So let's create a function which is an async and await. So what is an async and await? Let me explain you about that. That asynchronous function is basically just to tell that wait until this is finished. So by default, it is in synchronous in nature that one by line codes executes, right? So once you write async, it means you can tell to await a line, await a code that first of all wait for this code to execute and then proceed with next. So if you saw that we're getting promise pending, right, for this because read content is waiting to get the content first of all. In this scenario, what we can do is async function uh, read content data, okay, and then we can accept file name here, and then we can say try and catch, right, and say let data is equal to await fs dot read file with the file name and formatting of utf-8, right, and then we can pass that. Sorry, let user data is equal to JSON dot. Why my keyboard not working? JSON dot parse data. Now we have the user data, and then we can say console dot log data is here basically, and we can print the user data, right? So once we have this, and then we can also return the data if you want. You can return that return, and then we can say name is equal to user data dot name. Okay, user dot data name, and we can select processed true, some kind of thing. Okay, and then in error we can say console dot log error processing user data, and within error dot message error dot message. You can also add a delay here to simulate that it is being waiting for that, right? And then delay function. Let's return delay function here. So we can write function delay, just a simulating thing that it's kind of waiting for a compute task. So new promise, and then we can say that it is getting resolved after timeout. That timeout, and we can say resolve with an ms, right? Then we can say delay maybe like 2 seconds, so 2000. Okay, or simply access in this way. We can just pass all the data. Okay, so processing user, just processing user and user data dot name, and then we can use this function. Now it is an async and await. We can write async function main so that we can access this function. So we can do try and catch. Let processed is equal to await read content data with a file name of data.json, data.json, then console.log that processed data is processed. Okay, and then you can say await delay of maybe like 500 or 1 second would be enough. Okay, and then you can say console.log all done, complete. Okay, and then if any error is seen, then we can say that console.log error error, what is error dot message, error dot message. Okay, and then call this function here. Node package.json processing user ESRs, then processing data, this data, and then all complete, right? So processing a console is happening here, then it is returning all those data, and then in main function we are able to access read content data. We are passing the file name, then process data is we are getting name, age, and even processed because we are adding the process value here, key, right? And then we are sending all complete. So suppose that now if I give then invalid file name and then try to run. So now you see we are getting an error, cannot read properties of undefined reading error dot message. I guess because we are not throwing an error inside this, we have to throw the error, throw error, so that we can get the error inside this. Undefined throw error, right? Error dot message, error processing user data and error dot message cannot read undefined because it's not able to catch here, maybe. Okay, no worries, but at least we are getting the error right. Because if any it's not working here, it means we are getting inside this cat, right? So that how it works. Or we can simply try to console error. Let's see if it's getting or not. But if it's failing, we are getting inside. So if you now see that at read content data, we are getting inside the error of 33 line. So now we are able to debug. So where it is on the actual issues basically. So something is happening issue in this function, and that's why no result is given in main function. Okay, so that's how async and wait works. We also saw about installing an Express, right? Then basic Express server also we had created in server.js, that this is the type of route we have. Okay. So moreover, we have done with this Node Express, what is packages. Now let's see about token and authentication basically. So how does that works, or database basically. So once we understand database, then we can proceed with other. Mongoose DB or MongoDB. MongoDB. So MongoDB is a no SQL DB. So first of all, let's understand that introduction of MongoDB. What is in MongoDB? So MongoDB is a no SQL database, meaning it only follows not only follows the traditional relational database model, and instead it follows in document model. So if you see in SQL, it uses table and rows, traditional like Excel. So you can understand SQL simply as your blank workbook, blank Excel. So basically this can be understood as your normal SQL. So maybe you have name, age, gender. Okay. So basically you may have this three data type, and then you may have like yes, John, Sarah, something like this. Okay. Then you can say maybe like 30, 32, 25, mail, right? So now you understand in SQL we have a fixed schema type data. So only you can have name, age, and gender in one table, right? And these are the columns inside this table. You can say this table name is in user table, and inside this you have columns, and these are the your rows data basically, right? So if you want to return data for an user or of yes, so it will return like this only data, that yes, uh, basically if it is written on JSON, so it will give you name 30, and then age, name Yashraj, age 30, right? So in this way you will get all those data. But what if you want to have an extra variable here? For suppose that for yes, I want that notification, suppose that I want it to be true. For notifications, I only want for this particular user to be true. Inside SQL, it's not possible. You need to have a notification column for every user. Either for suppose that this user will be set true, but other will be to null, right? So this way it can be done. But like a MongoDB takes a different approach. It doesn't use the traditional tables, rows, and columns. Instead, it works with document and collection. Document collection. So let me open a MongoDB Compass and create a new connection. Okay. Now if you see, we have a local DB. Let's say database name, we can say test inside class. Collection name, suppose that we can use user create database. Then we have a collection here. Then we can create or add data. Let's add insert document. Inside this we can say name, which is Yash Raj. Okay, and then we can say age is 30. Okay, and I'll click on insert. Now we have a document here, and then I can also add, suppose that name, suppose that John. Okay, and age is equal to suppose that 32, and then I can see notifications here is true, and I can click insert. So now if you see in the same way, we have a collection about user, we can also be referred as a table, and then we can see about this as in rows, that these are the rows. But in inside this you see there's a field schema that there will be name, age and gender for every user. Either it's supposed to be null or anything, but there will be existing. But in MongoDB it allows you to add any type of data not fused with any schema, right? So in first document we have a name and age. In second one we have name, age and notification. So there is no any fixed schema type you can add in data type of any format, right? So that's what MongoDB allows you to do in MongoDB. This is how it's called also as NoSQL, because it doesn't work in traditional SQL type. Okay, so in introduction to MongoDB is MongoDB is a NoSQL database, meaning it does not follow the traditional relation database model like MySQL or Postgres SQL, right? So instead of table and rows, MongoDB stores data in the form of collections and documents. We just saw what is in collection. It is an equivalent to a table in SQL, right? And then document is equivalent to a row in SQL, but stored as JSON-like format called BSON. So we saw that it is structured with the JSON format only, right? So why use MongoDB? So it is a highly flexible, no feed schema required, handles unstructured, semi-structured, or structured data. Horizontal scalability can distribute data across multiple servers. So basically, the also main thing about it is SQL and NoSQL difference. Majorly, why most of them prefer this NoSQL. So SQL is fixed schema where no schema required. Simply you can insert data. Then in SQL, scalable horizontal. No, sorry, vertical and horizontal scalable. Okay. So what happens here? So in Excel we saw, right, there are only rows and columns. So there are also limit in the sheet that only up to this number of rows can be inserted in a sheet, right? So there is a limit. So to exceed that limit, you need to add more CPUs, RAM, right? Or you need storage to add more of the rows there. So that's how it is difficult to scale SQL databases, because you need to add those compute. But in NoSQL, what it happens, it can store data into multiple servers, because there is no any structure, right? You can treat simply as a document as a file. You can treat every document as a file. You can store file in multiple servers anywhere, and then you can call all those files when you want to return, right? So that's how NoSQL is preferable in most of the scenarios, like no schema required and horizontal scalability. Okay, then we have an example document we saw about name and age, right? That we have name and then age. So that's how more the example document looks like. You can also add all those objects, arrays, right? There are different data types available. You can store inside one document. So if I just show again, sorry, in test class, if you see, uh, like edit. Now, if you see, there are multiple data types you can store inside this. Either it's an array, binary, boolean, code, data, decimal, double, integer, maximum key, minimum key, null, object ID, Bisonary expression, string. So you can like add multiple types of data types here inside a single document. But in there are limitations in SQL. So SQL only stores one type of data, not different type of data, right? So that's how things work between SQL and NoSQL. Now we have structure design and data modeling. So before designing the database, first of all, we have to think about data structures and read-write patterns and embedding or referencing. What means it means data structure, either it's a nested or a flat. Basically, if you see that if you want in nested object, like suppose that you have an user, you may have reference or something kind of data, right? So inside this also you have an data about nodes. So you have a nested objects. So this is only possible when you have a Node.js. It is not possible when you are using SQL, because in SQL you will have to go with only like this, that name, age, notifications. So only the key and value type you can understand inside SQL. In MongoDB, there is no fixed thing. So first of all, you need to understand the data structure, either is nested or in flat. Then read write patterns means your application has more reads or more writes. So for a blog application, as an example, the writes are very less and the reads are more, right? So that's how you need to understand the pattern. Then embedding and referencing. So let's see about the embedding documents. First of all, store related data in the same documents. You can say, maybe you can say about username. Username is Ron, and then what are the books he had ordered until now. So you can store in this way, right? Sorry, it will be an array. So it will be an array, and you can store all these objects inside this only. That book name. So book name maybe one, and then you can also add multiple books here, multiple objects. Copy and paste, and two. So you can store this type of data, right? That inside a single document you will be able to get all those documents. So it's kind of a fast read, because you're getting all those documents in a single query, because it is stored in a single document. So advantage is that is fast reads all data in one place. You can get them via MongoDB. Now what is referencing documents? So referencing, you can say this is an embedding document, embedding type, and then let me just write here embedding, because we are adding all those data inside a single place. Then we have referencing. Suppose that you have an user data in one folder and the books data in another collection. So now in this scenario, what you can see inside a user collection, you can store something like this, that ID of your user ID, and then name is equal to zone. Okay, and then inside the book collections, books or order collections, basically order collections, what you can say, that for which user ID it is there, user ID maybe like user ID 123. Okay, and then productivity is book one, right? And price maybe 5. So basically now you're storing the data in different collections, but you are referencing with the user ID. So suppose that once you get an user, first of all you extracted user. So now once you have an user data, that is, this is an ID for my user, then you can query with the order collection, that find by user ID. If user ID is user ID 123, get me all those documents. So this is an and that referencing type. So you can have an referencing and embedding types with the collection query. So what are the advantages inside this? That reduces duplication, better for large data types. So this is an embedding and referencing. Now, if you want to do an CRUD operation inside MongoDB. So how you can do that? For inserting data, you can use like db dot users the collection name. Then you can say insert dot one dot insert one. If you want to insert one document, if you want to insert multiple documents, there is insert many. You can insert multiple documents at once, right? So suppose that you need to insert one, then you can say like name is equal to John, right? So this is how you can insert the data. Then you have read data. How you can read? So you can say db dot users dot find, right? And then say that name is equal to John. So it will give you the user by John. If you want to be specific, you can also check with user ID or something, right? So you can use that way. This will give you an array. So you need to add two array, so that to return as an array, because it isn't find. So it will give you a number of those. So if you want to get the first element only, so you can simply write uh, find one and it will give you the first match, whatever it gets. Okay. So that's how read works. Then update. So you can say db dot users dot update one, and you can say name is Zondo, and then you need to pass the parameters to check that in which you need to update. So I can just say dot set. I can say I need to update that age is 31 or 40. Suppose that 41. Okay. So now it will check with name of Zondo, and then it will update with age 41, that document. Right. Now if you want to delete, then you can say db dot users dot delete one, and then you can pass the again query parameters about name is equal to Zone. Name is Zone. So it will delete the document. Okay. So this is how a basic CRUD operation works. Inserting, read, update, and delete. Then I guess it's almost time. Let's quickly just install a Mongoose and try the connection. How we can establish a connection. Let's go MongoDB. Search in npm. Why isn't even there MongoDB? I guess simply you can install. Okay, let's click on mongo.js npm ls npm install mongodb. Okay, then import const mongo client from mongodb. Require mongodb. Okay, then const URI is equal to what was the connection URL? Copy connection string. Then we have the database of test class, right? So you can pass the test class, the database name. Then you can say const db. Const db is equal to new mongo client and pass the URL. Okay, sorry, equal to. Okay. Then we can say async function connect db, and we will say await that db dot connect. So once this is done, we can say console dot log connected. or you can simply do in try and catch. Console.log error. Okay, and say connect DB. We'll call this node mongo file, node mongo. Let's wait if it's able to connect or not. Uh, why is it anything working? Asynchronous version we pass. Let's see what is MongoDB package MongoDB. Is there anything changed? Mongo client requires. Let's copy this DB name. Okay, we got an error connection refused. So let's try this method again. Test class module. We have initialized the URL, and I guess I maybe have mistaken with the URL or maybe database name. Then we have the main await client.connect connected to the server. Then let's suppose that we have an users, right? The collections user. Okay, we can say console dot log collection dot find one, find with name is John, find one with name is John. Let's try returning then. Yes, does it still give an error? Most probably the local thing gives an error most of the time. I guess that's some connection timeout, probably. So connection info 2707. Of course, we have copy connection string. I guess moreover will we have to use IP address, the local host, the connection network error we are getting. Okay, but more we are getting this an error. We'll try to resolve this error in the next session. So this is how usually we define the connection error, right? So if you want to create a database, either you can use local database, or if you want to connect with another database, we can connect. I guess let's see if I have this connection string for this. Okay, so I guess I do not have a public database currently for testing purpose. I'll create a database in MongoDB Atlas. You can create a database inside this MongoDB. You can search MongoDB, open this website, and try signing up for this. Get started. You will click on this and try signing up. It will allow you to create database in the server. This basically helps you to connect with the database and more to all those works, right? Because locally sometimes there is a cost issue. We'll fix with the URL. There's nothing much more. Just need an URL for that. Okay, we'll do that in the next session. We'll also create an API and everything. Is there any questions you want to ask? Because tomorrow we'll be going with this authentication we'll be building on the front end, and if we get time, we'll also continue with back end. And day after tomorrow, we'll be completing the authentication part. Is there any questions you want to ask? There are no questions, so we'll keep the session till this. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll continue with authentication. First of all, the theoretical part is left about authentication, how JWT works, and how secret key, public key, and all those things work. Okay, so that's how we'll be using the authentication in tomorrow session. I stop the recording for now.